everybody, welcome back to Journey with Jackie. I am excited you're here because you know I love sharing with you my favorite things. And right now, this is definitely my favorite eyeshadow palette for a few reasons. Number one, it's beautiful colors no matter what your age is. It's age appropriate. Number two, it's easy to use. And number three, the price. I'm only halfway done, so I figured I would finish getting dressed with you using the eye palette and just showing you how easy it is to use. So let's get started. I have already just put on my tinted moisturizer that I talk about all the time, and I'll link the video above if you haven't seen which one that I use. So all I did so far, I would just put on the basic. I have on a little concealer by Fenty. I didn't bring it. I have my Fenty concealer on, and I have my tinted moisturizer, and and I started to do my brows a little bit. So I know they're looking kind of crazy. I didn't finish them, but I just kind of did the basic shape so I can just get right to putting on the eyeshadow with you guys. So I thought I'm just going to keep it simple. I am not really good at using a whole bunch of eyeshadows colors, you guys. I'm telling you right now, I keep it simple. The max that I use is really 3 colors for me. That just works for me because I'm not that talented at that. So I think I'm going to do reddish burnish orange kind of look. So I think that's what I'm going to do today, and just keep it simple with 3 different colors, and I'm going to share with you how I do it. So I'm going to start off. I did put a little concealer on my eyelid as my base. So basically when I dabbed it, as Channel like to say, dabbing. So as I dabbed my concealer underneath my eyes, I just kind of dabbed it and put a little bit on my eyelid. So I just used that as my base. Kept it simple. I'm going to start off with this color right there. So I'm going to use my little flat brush first. Just going to put on a little bit. So if I put on too much, I can always change it, blend it in, but only put a little bit. I'll do one color. That's kind of what I'm thinking. If I have too much excess, I'll just take it and put the other, use the excess on the other side. So it's kind of going for like that reddish look, but not too red. I hope everybody is doing well, staying safe, staying positive, staying encouraged as you best as you possibly can. I know it's a really tough time for a lot of us right now, but I know we all have been encouraging each other with messages and comments, and I know it just helps. I know it's helped me during the last couple of months, and even this week is challenging for a lot of us as well. So I just say, be encouraged, stay encouraged, and let's continue to help support one another. So I just dabbed in a little bit of this, as you can see, a little bit of the burnish color, and I'm going to put that actually in the crease a little bit. So once again, I'm keeping it simple. 3 colors. So I'm just going to play with it. Put it in the crease a little bit. And if you guys are wondering, this is definitely one of the brushes that I said I got from Target by Sonia Kushak that I said I'm loving, because I said I am not spending a bunch of money on another expensive brush set right now. So I have enjoyed this brush. I've gotten 3 so far, 2 shadows and a blush. Yeah, blush brush. Oh, I hope the camera shows that for you guys. But I want to do it also in natural light, because I want to do it like how I typically would wear it. So I'm hoping the camera does it justice in showing you how much I have on. But this is like a natural look for me. And so all I did so far was I put in the first color first on my lid. I put on the reddish color, and then in the crease I put in that color, the burnish orange color. Okay, so I am going to turn the far left eyeshadow into my eyeliner. So I'm just gonna dab my little brush into a little water and then just get it really nice and damp so it doesn't fall down onto my face, and then I have a bigger mess to clean up. So I just like to make sure the brush is really nice and wet. And then I just lightly turn it into, oh yeah. I'm gonna do first with just as the dark purple. And then I may add a little bit of the brown, but we'll see. If I didn't say it already, I am using the Patricia Bright. Patricia Bright Revolution, and the palette is Rich in Life is the one that I'm using. And this came out last fall, and I did do a quick review on it in the fall. So that's the other reason why I say this is the best eyeshadow palette. I am getting my money's worth. You'll get your money's worth because you will actually use this eye palette all year long. So that's the other great thing that I think is fantastic about this palette. It's not just pretty summer colors, like, you know, look at these, look at those pretty, if you really like doing like really vibrant pretty blues and things like that, you have the pretty vibrant pinks and the yellows, and then you still have a nice selection of like fall colors. So that's why I still say this is the best shadow palette. You'll get your money's worth. You'll wear it all year long. I'm just gonna throw a little bit of brown in the corner as an eyeliner, so you'll see what I mean. So I'll take just to do a little bit, the one right next to it, right in the corner. Yeah, that works just a little bit. And it still keeps it nice, because typically what I do anyway, if I'm using a pencil, if I was wearing a pencil anyway, I like to put on the eyeliner and then I still take a little brush and soften the edge of the eyeliner and kind of like blend it into my eyeshadow anyway. So I really like a soft edge liner anyway, because it's easy, right? I told you. Well, that's just me. Like I said, I never claimed to be a makeup artist. If I could do something that's easy, that looks good and great quality, that's what this channel is all about. So definitely stay tuned, because I'm going to continue to show you on some of the things that I have learned over the years. If I can save you time, heartache, and money, then that's what I want to do with this channel. So definitely stay tuned. And if you haven't done so, subscribe right here so we can continue to take this journey together and share with each other some of the things that we could do to help each other, inspire each other, help each other save money, and then just enjoying life. Blend all this in together. You're like, blending what? You only use 2 colors, Jackie. I know, but still, for whatever reason, I still like to take my brush and like create my own little indentation right there in between my crease line, just to kind of give it more definition. And then, all right, so that's the eyeshadow done. And now I'm just going to finish throwing on the rest of the few things that I have. I'm going to keep it simple. So I'm going to throw on my Fenty bronzer really fast. And the blush that I'm using is by Hourglass. See that? Yeah, it's like a pretty highlighter and blush combination mixed in together. And I'm going to oh, so here is the blush brush that I told you from Target. So I'm just going to take and put it right on. I'm very light-handed, as you guys can see. So I'm just going to put a very little bit and put it right in my cheek, on my apples. So I use the Urban Decay Power Brow Blade and the color Dark Drapes. So that's what I pre-did before we got started. And I'm just gonna quickly brush this up boy, I know we are all missing our favorite support system for brows and hair. I will say I'm doing my best. I have been cutting my own hair because I figured the main thing is keeping everything healthy and good condition, right? So yes, my hair is not cut into any particular style, but I just keep my ends trimmed. I did do my hairline color because I had a lot of gray coming around the edges, so I did do a little color and try to do something safe and lightly without making sure that I didn't break off my hair. And the color, I'll find the box for you if anybody's interested. It was actually a color and product that I got from Target by Revlon, and it seemed to work okay. I probably picked the shade darker than what I should have. I picked darkest brown. Darkest brown is almost black, and my hair isn't that dark, so now I know. I can't wait to see Miss Latoya for my brows again. I'm doing my best, Latoya, not to mess them up. I'm trying, but it's hard. Oh, I'm going to put this clip in real fast. Before I started the video, I'm going to share with you guys what I did. Has anybody else tried speaking of waxing, from Target, the product called Flamingo? So you can use it they have it for body waxing as well as for face waxing. So I did try it for my lip. Now I'm going to show you. So you're going to see me ripping it off here. I don't know. Of course, there's nothing like the true professional stuff getting it done. You know what? Another great thing to use too, if you're looking for a natural eyeshadow, if you're really looking for a natural blush, I still like the Giorgio Armani liquid ones. I'll actually put on one for you right now so you can see. Super easy to do. Quick dab. Put a dab here, put a dab here. And what I generally do is then just take my beauty blender and then just dab it. And I don't like to use it. You can use your fingers if you want, but you guys know, because I'm always worried about breaking out, so I try to minimize touching my face. So that's basically it. I like to blend it underneath so it blends in to just on the apples of my cheeks. And that's basically it. All right, so that's it. So now I'm just going to do a quick little lip liner. I'm going to use two real fast. This one is by Sisley, and the color is Beige Natural. And then I think I'm going to blend it in with a little Givenchy lip liner, a pink one. And that one is called, I don't know. I have to link it below. So I'm going to fill in my lip first. And you guys have to follow me to my next video, because one more thing that I'm going to do before I leave today, and I'm going to tape another video, my favorite summer shoes. 5 pair for each particular type of outfit that you may be looking for. So follow me to the next video for sure. I'm going to fill in just a little bit of pink, just a little bit. Once again, I go right on the outer edge of my lip. As I shared with you, I'm getting older, so my lips are not as fuller as before. So to create more of a fuller look, I just go right on the edge, all the way down. I don't go past the ledge. I know some people do. Okay. Now I have 3 different colors, so I'm going to play with them. This one I just got from HSN the other day, the Glam Squad. I really like that one. So they're all like a sheer lip balm look, because either way it's still going to come off in my mask, but it's just to get out the house. So I'm going to try on this one first. It's a little bit, so one is like a natural rose pink, and one is more like a coral pink. So this is the one by Chantecaille. I will link the color below. So I'm going to put that one on first. yeah, can you see that? So my go-to is by Hourglass. I don't really talk a lot when I'm doing my mascara because I feel like I may jab my eyeball. And I am a freaking baby when it comes to my eyeballs. A little known fact. I cannot touch my eyeball. Some people can. And now that I've started to wear glasses, it's really challenging going to get my eye exam, but it is what it is. That's a thing that I've been, like, I don't know, had this phobia about my eyeballs. But anyway, so that is my mascara. And now I am officially done my quick makeup with the Patricia Bright eyeshadow palette, which I love. And now you guys see why I love it. I hope you love it as much as I do. And that's pretty much it. So don't forget, follow me on to the next video because I'm going to share with you my 5 favorite summer shoes for the summer. And yeah, and it's my birthday month. Did I tell you that already? It's June. It's here. I am going to embrace it. I'm turning 54. I'm going to just try to do things this month that I've been putting off, although I've been doing a pretty good job of doing things outside of my comfort zone over the last year. I'm going to continue to do it. And some of the things I typically would do around my birthday week, I can't really do because of COVID-19, but that's okay. I'm thankful I'm here. I'm able to see it. And so yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do this month, but I'm going to take you with me and just share with you anything that I do for my birthday or buy for my birthday. But I'm just thankful that you're here with me for my birthday, which is the most important thing. So anyway, have a fantastic 2 days, and I'll definitely be seeing you in 2 days. So I love you guys so much. Follow me, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and leave any comments about what you think about the eyeshadow palette that I am recommending for all of us. So anyway, have fun with it. I love you guys so much. And stay safe. Okay, see you soon.